Welcome to Hidden Gems in Nature. Join us as we explore and discover the hike up to the top of this butte. It's got some absolutely incredible views. The hike can be a little difficult, but the views are worth it. It's absolutely spectacular here on top. Nice cool breeze, wonderful place to be. Join us as we have a great time on this hike today. Okay, we're heading east on Highway 60 from the Phoenix area. We're heading up a little pass here, Gonzales Pass. After we get up over Gonzales Pass, you'll be able to see the butte that we're going to hike to. Oh my goodness, it's a bright sun this morning. And this is not an easy hike. In fact, it's a difficult to strenuous hike, but it is a short hike. It's only about 2 miles up to the top. That's the butte that we're going to hike up to. We're going to hike to the top of that this morning. Okay, so we're heading off the road. Okay, too fast here. So we're heading off the road and hanging a right, heading south off of Highway 60. You can see here in front of us this little corral and windmill. Okay, so we're at the trailhead for this morning's hike. We're going to be hiking up that large butte behind us up to the top. I've only done this hike once before. It's kind of a scramble. It's a difficult hike. But it's kind of a cool lookout up on top. Once you get up on top of that butte, it's really quite an incredible view. I'll have my son pan the parking lot so you can see the parking lot that we're in. We're just south of the Superstition Mountains and the Mineral Mountains. Again, this is only about a 2-mile hike one way, but it is a scramble. So it is a difficult to strenuous hike in the last mile. Morning. Okay, so we're coming to the first fork in the trail. One of these trails goes around the base of this mountain. The other one goes along the canyon and then breaks off at a second fork. The second fork is the one we'll actually take to go to the top. So we're going to head right down this fork. So we're at the second fork in the trail, and we're going to go left and head right up to the top of that summit. You can see it now a little bit better. It's kind of a horseshoe-shaped butte. We're going to go right up the inside of that horseshoe. You can see from here it's kind of straight up a cliff, and it kind of is. It's like I said, it's a cool hike, a little bit strenuous when we get up there. It's a scramble. We'll have a lot of fun doing it. So we're on our hike up. Those are the Superstition Mountains to the north of us. So it kind of gives you a feel for where we're at. We're just at the base of the mountain. You can see the prominent needle over there. I don't know if you can zoom in on that needle or not. It's kind of a prominent point for this whole area, made famous by the Lost Dutchman. Beautiful view. You'll get a lot of beautiful views when we get up on top of this mountain. So even though the desert's drying out, these swirl are in full blossom. I don't know if you can see all the bees swarming on them, but we get up close to these things and it sounds just like a hive. Really pretty blossoms.
One of the surprises we got today was the cactus blossoms. We didn't expect to see any while we were on this hike, and you can see this ocotillo right in front of us, which is really pretty. And along with the ocotillo, you'll see a cholla cactus. I had no idea that chollas blossomed, but this is a cholla that's blossoming. And then following the cholla, we had several prickly pears that we saw that were blossoming as well. So quite a surprise today. We didn't expect it. We usually expect to see flowers when we hike in March or April. But today we were able to see some cactus in blossom.
Okay, so we're about 2/3 of the way up. What's interesting about this hike is the first half mile, like most deserts, is flat and easy. Second half mile is more moderate, and the third half mile is difficult. We've actually been going up some pretty steep terrain, but as you can see behind me, it's only going to get steeper. So the last half mile is strenuous. The first time I did this hike, I was actually holding an object, and partway up that scramble behind me, I had to set down the object and put it under a tree because I needed all fours to make it up. Now, I'm a little older and maybe I need a little bit more sense of balance, so I'm using all fours going up it, but it is a scramble. As difficult as it is, you'll enjoy it, and when you get to the top, boy, the views are well worth it. So this segment of the trail is a little steeper. You can see this is kind of a little bit of a scramble. You can actually go left there, Noah. We had to come up this face. This is just the beginning of it. It'll get more and more like this as we go. So like I said, you have some scrambles going up this trail. And so this is one of the little scrambles. But a lot of times you lose the trail in here, and so you have to be careful as to what part of the trail you're on when you're coming up here. We actually got sidetracked and I had to go back because there's so many different directions. So I don't know if this camera shot gives you a sense of steepness on this trail, but I'm going to pan around. There's kind of a cool looking pinnacle. A couple of months ago, I went on a hike from this same trailhead, and instead of hiking the butte, I hiked the canyon to the west of the butte. It was also a very beautiful hike. I did it at the end of March, 1st of April, so the spring flowers were beautiful. It was quite an enjoyable hike. As I was coming around one of the points, I heard some snorting, like a pig, snorting real loud. And I, of course, immediately looked around to see where the snorting was coming from because it was very loud and sounded very close. Looked down the mountain to my right, looked in front of me, couldn't see anything. There was a large bush about 5 feet in diameter to my left. So I hurried around the bush to see what I could see, and there was a javelina kind of snorting and making noise, walking up the side of the mountain. I must have woke him up. He wasn't very happy. It was early in the morning. It was dawn, but I saw that grumpy pig just kind of walking away up the hill looking at me. He didn't give me a very good look. I must have woke him up. And there it is. That's the peak. Doesn't look very pointed, but it's the peak, and we'll be there in just a few minutes. So you can tell we've made it to the top. There's the USGS survey peak marker for the mountain we're on, and one of our feet, so at least you know one of us made it. Well, we made it to the top. We're at the peak. You can see to my right and you can see to my left how this is kind of a horseshoe mesa. So the top of this butte is relatively flat. In fact, the last probably quarter mile of the hike is very flat, whereas the quarter to half mile before it is a scramble. One thing to be aware of as you're coming up that scramble, make sure you stay to the left. If you end up in the ravine on the right, it'll be more of a scramble than if you stay to the left. I've been up this a couple of times, and I've hiked both routes, and the left is much better. I'm going to take a complete 360 view from the top of the butte. You'll be able to see Mount Lemmon to the south near Tucson, as well as 4 peaks to the north. Enjoy the view. So as I mentioned, there's a lot of cool pinnacles along this hike, cool rock formations that you can stop and look at. Right behind me is almost an archway. It's just a fallen monolith leaning up against the mountain there. Pretty cool looking. And off to my left and your right are a number of pinnacles. They're also kind of cool looking pinnacles and rock formations. Enjoy all the beauties along this hike. Stop and take a rest. You'll want to take a few rests. It's pretty steep. Enjoy the hike.